don't believe the narrative.
Let's make a year of exploration, a year of celebration. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. Our opportunity, our moment. Let's march into finals.
The man in full flow, the Hurricane Higgins. He's about to pounce, gets there. Owens, the same goes marching in.
Picked up Phillippo, spinning, brilliant angle. Matthias Phillippo with one of the best.
Hi everyone, welcome to a new project from three lads that are very passionate about the St Kilda Football Club. One hasn't had as much pain as the other two.
That's for sure.
Because the other two, myself and Danny, both hit the old 5-0 in the last 6 months. But young Sammy is approaching 17.
Yeah, 17.
There you go. So anyway, what we are the Over the Ditch Sainers. We're a couple of lads that met via Facebook, found out that we're both from the same town in Australia originally, the great town of Ballarat that's produced probably the GOAT of AFL in Tony Lockett. So that's a good thing. That's got to be positive for us moving forward as a YouTube channel podcast. And we decided, let's start having a yarn about the Saints post-game and talk a bit of shit, you might say, or some might think it's brain trust material. How are you, lads?
Yeah, good, mate. Good, mate. Good to see you tonight.
You too. So let's start off with a gripe. Now, we all either watched the game or have seen mini versions of the game due to this end of the season, you know, with the tail end of the cricket season and bowl season and things like that. You don't always get to watch the whole round one game depending on when your team was scheduled. But one thing I did see, and I'm sure you two lads did too, how in the hell is it taking Dangerfield's feet when you're first for the ball?
Yeah.
First for the ball. When Danger arrived, Stock had already flicked the ball on. I believe it might have been Filippo was about to take possession of the ball. That's how far it had gone.
Yeah.
Yes, in real life, it's like that. But it had gone that far that Filippo's already taken possession of the ball, or about to take possession of the ball when Danger comes in, knee to the back of the ribs there, and that's a free kick. Danger. Come on.
Exactly. And even listening back to the commentary, because as I said to you in our chat, I was watching the mini game, which went for about 17 minutes, something like that on Foxtel. And even the commentators were asking the question, Liam Stock is there first for the ball. Surely it's not taking his legs. And
Exactly.
you know, I thought rule number one in football is protect the man playing the ball. That rule was established for guys that come in late and take the legs of the player.
Yep.
Is my understanding.
As we have spoken a little bit, but you know, maybe it is it the interpretation of the law, the way it's worded, or is that what they've got to work on? I'm not sure. Don't like to bag umpires, as you let me know. I actually thought the umpires were professionals. I didn't know that they were all had other jobs and stuff like that, which is pretty ignorant of me, I guess.
But that's a bit of a hidden truth that a lot of sports fans don't realise in Australian sport. Sorry to cut in, because we've got the same problem with the A-League, which you've got the Knicks that play in that over there, and the same thing yet again. I think in the A-League there may be one or two that are full-time professional, but there's more than one or two games.
Yes, that's it.
There certainly is.
This could be a good chat for another episode, another chat. But I think that's a really good thing that we've something to look forward to and chat about later on. But yeah, getting back to the to the Stocker thing, I think it was a very, very ordinary decision. And I like to say, back when I was a lad, I used to love What's Your Decision on the Wide World of Sports, and I'd love to see the umpires' reaction to this. I did see, and I shared on my Facebook, on my personal Facebook during the week, the lady from the AFL. Cannot recall her name at the moment, but I was not too impressed about her the way she worded. We are pleased to see players didn't leave injured or hurt. For me, Stocker looked to be quite a bit of pain on the ground there. So for her to come out with a big smile on her face and say, at the end of the day, after watching all replays, we're pleased to see no players left injured or hurt from that incident, I'd have to disagree. So the AFL's, for me, their reply to said situation is very, very ordinary.
That she just demonstrated, and look, I don't care if it's male, female, or non-binary, or whatever it is in the role, because we've got to be careful these days because of the way we're meant to, you know how it is, guys. Anyway, that aside, I don't care who's in that role. They are just the AFL's minion covering up for an absolute ridiculous rule that they introduced, and they continually introduce rules because they worry about one or two instances that were real bad. You're playing a contact sport, accidents do happen. However, we're creating an accident by the interpretation of this rule. And
own it. When you get it wrong, if an umpire gets it wrong, let's own it and move on, because it's situations like this that keep us all talking about it. You know, if they do something about it and say, our umpire made a mistake there, we will be doing some homework on that and changing, thinking about our interpretation and the way we interpret the law. All good and well. I would move on from it. But when she comes in and says no player left injured or hurt, I fully disagree, and it pisses me off, to be fair.
And to be fair, I believe the whole statement was farcical. Was just purely and utterly the umpire's always right. And look, I don't believe the umpire per se was wrong. My issue is the rules and the interpretation the umpires are meant to take set the umpires up. They really do. In the umpire's defence, the rules like that really set the umpires up for absolute ridicule. And look, I think we've probably spent enough on that. Let's get into the grassroots of what we're trying to talk about. But I do believe before we pick on umpires, we should consider the stupid interpretation developed by the AFL.
Yeah, fair call.
So moving forward, we've decided this week, first ever episode, and we will appreciate any listeners that give us feedback once we put this on YouTube and share it around a few Saints groups to provide us with ideas for segments. We're open to anything. Look, if it means interviewing, St Kilda's greatest ever female support, Al McPherson, we'll do it. We will absolutely do it, won't we, Danny?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We can. Sammy might be a bit too young to know who she is, but we'll let him know. We'll show him some pictures.
I'll tell you what.
They'll probably go straight to the wank bank, but that's okay.
And look, I tell you what, she might be early 60s, but I'd still like to sit beside her at a game in a Saints jumper, I tell you. Anyway, enough of that. So we've decided to pick a decision from this round, which was round one, and don't get me started on the round zero crap, but round one. And we're going to pick a what the moment that we go, what the, because we believe why wasn't it paid, or did it potentially, if it had come off, would it have actually turned the game? Things like that, momentum changes, whatever. For me, I was watching the 17-minute mini match or whatever it was, as I said, and I seen the Mitch Owens screamer that wasn't paid. Now,
how was that not paid? He had 4 or 5 touches of the ball.
Exactly. I can recall Gary Ablett when it's senior winning Mark of the Year, and he didn't have the ball as long.
I know the one you mean.
That's my what the. I just don't know why it wasn't paid.
Sammy, what was your what the?
Yeah, Sammy, what was yours?
Mine is, so obviously it's everyone being so disappointed with losing. Obviously, you never want your team to lose, but going up against a side like Geelong is always good,
especially at home. At Cardinia Park. Used to be Cardinia Park. What do they call it now?
I call it Scumbag Stadium, but I've had a poor experience at the game there.
Yep. Yeah, so they're always really hard to beat. But I hear where you come from, Sammy. Some of the stuff we've been seeing on social media, we've only gone down by 8 points, and some of the way some of the fans have dogged the players and the team has been a bit disappointing. So I'm hearing that.
Yeah, 100%.
Tim,
I was going to say just on that, Sammy. My my thoughts were I don't believe Geelong are going to be a powerhouse like they have been. I think they're on the way down. Whether or not they fall out of the 8 or the top half dozen, I don't know. But it's never going to be easy for a team to go down to Geelong and play in front of the lowest IQ supporters in the league, bar Collingwood and Richmond supporters, that you're going to go there and win a game. The fact that we were in the game until literally the last 30 seconds and was still a chance of winning until Dangerfield kicked that goal, which was a bit dubious. Some say it may have hit the post. Others say, well, they review every goal, so it didn't, so we won't even go there. It probably was a goal. I think the player will put the post. But that aside, it's not too many teams are going to go to Geelong this year and win, let alone get within 2 kicks.
Especially with their biggest crowd they've had in a very, very long time.
100%.
It's always hard to play against a big crowd. So I'm hearing you with that, Sammy. I'm disappointed with some of our fans with that. My woulda, coulda, shoulda. Well, maybe earlier, probably about 13 minutes to go in the first quarter. I think Kingy's taken the ball out by the wing there.
Yep.
He's kicked it forward, gone to Membry, and Membry looked to have taken a mark. He had a pretty good go of it. It would have been paid probably 9 times out of 10, I'd say, and wasn't paid on. Anyway, so be it. It wasn't paid. But if that had been paid, he goes back, kicks his second within a few minutes, and is what woulda, coulda, shoulda been. Maybe St Kilda in a better headspace. They went down the other end. Geelong bloody ended up kicking the goal. Kicked 3 or 4 in a row, I think, actually. But yeah, I thought if that mark had been paid, it could have. Wishful thinking, I know, but could have had a difference on bearing on the game.
Yep, and it's a game of momentum, as we know, and that could have swung the momentum our way, or it could have continued the momentum that way. It's
he may also have missed the kick. So lots of woulda, coulda, shouldas, but that was just my little moment that I thought 9 times out of 10 that mark's going to be paid to Membry or to someone having the same sort of possession of the ball. So
100%. What about a highlight, guys?
You want to go first, Samuel?
Mine was the debutant, getting two goals. Darcy Wilson looks to be a ready-made AFL footballer, doesn't he? Yeah, obviously we had lots of great players, but doing that on your first game is quite a good feat.
It is, Sammy, and I must say you stole my thunder, but I will think of another one why Danny tells us his highlight.
Sammy, bloody hell, mate.
Sammy,
but he done a lot during the game that did show. Without the 2 goals, he done a lot during the game that showed, as a lot of the fellas did. For me, I'm going back to Membry again. A bit of a fan of his, but him kicking the first goal, which I did call in my pre-game thing. I called him as our first goal scorer, so I was pretty happy with that. But just for him to be out there looking so fit, looking happy, and getting amongst it, he looks probably the fittest he's been in probably 3 or 4 years. And to see him kick that first goal and just to see him out there playing the game, smile on his face, enjoying it, that's my highlight.
Tell you what, if I had a link to Putin, I'd be bombing your house because you stole my other idea.
Sorry, mate.
You're right, guys. But what I will say,
well, they were 2 good highlights then, obviously.
They both stood out for me. I nearly brought a tear to my eye watching the replay and seeing him kick the first goal with what he's been up against and whatnot. But I suppose for me, my highlight, and it was in my mind as well. I was juggling a few. My highlight is I loved watching Maxi King's 2nd and 3rd and 4th efforts when the ball got on the ground. He's been criticised in the past that he's one-dimensional. He's a mark and kick, and that's about it. But he is fair dinkum. He's ready. He's ready this year. If he can have a fit run, he is ready.
For a big beanstalk like him, his ground efforts are great too. He's clean on the ground. Like when he does make those 2nd and 3rd efforts, he's quite good. Like a lot of big fellas like him, they might fumble it a little bit when they're down over the ball, but he's quite clean, eh?
You know who he reminds me of at ground level? An ex-St Kilda ruckman that wore number 10 and went to Hawthorn. Went to Hawthorn.
would be, and then to Sydney.
Correct.
Yeah, big Spider. I love Spider.
Yep. No, he reminds me a lot of Spider at ground level because he was that sort of gangly, not dissimilar height, and they're very good between their feet with their hands picking up the ball. And he's even his efforts as far as being a team player in that game was amazing. I felt.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was good.
So it brings us. Sorry, go, mate.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you, mate. I think he's set for a really big year, and as you say, it's just not that marking, goal kicking man. He's a team player, and he's making the big efforts to be the best team man he can be. So it's got to be good.
I believe so too, mate. And look, we're at the one that's the subject matter that's probably not the one that we really like to look at, but we're going to try and find a low light in the game. So, Sammy, what's your low light, mate?
Probably the call that could have cost us the game, and obviously losing the game, but that Liam Stocker call kind of, it's a very, if that didn't happen, what could have happened the game? And yeah.
What about you, Danny?
Yeah, low light. I don't know. I hate bagging players. That's one thing with me. But Higgins, when he lined up directly in front and just shanked it, that was. I felt for the bloke, you know. I felt for the bloke because, as I've said it 100 times before, fellas don't go out there to play bad games or to miss kicks. That's their livelihood. They're out there to do the best they can, and they're not doing it on purpose. But for me, that was a bit like it was a bugger for us, but it was more of a bugger for him. You know what I mean? I felt for him.
Yeah, no,
the kick off.
That's a fair call, and he was probably a little bit disappointing on what he can do, but just on him, I believe he plays his best football when another fellow Ballarat boy is playing in that forward line with him, who's out injured at the moment. Do you know who I'm thinking? Butler, bingo. I believe they're both better when they're both in the forward line.
There's another thing though. Like, although he may have been disappointing, and I do agree with you with this, but I'll just before I forget it.
You're right, mate. Yeah.
I think it might have been Membry's second or third goal. It's down there. It's gone. Bloody the defender's got it. Looked like he was almost, and Higgins just pretty much ripped it out of his arms.
Yes.
Freed the ball up. And so as much as he's been disappointed, he's not given up. They've been probably outplayed a bit there, and he just ripped the ball from his arms. It's bounced free into Membry's hands, and Membry's kicked the goal.
Yeah.
So there's things to like about his game. Like I say, I don't mean his whole game. I just mean that kick I was disappointed with.
Yeah.
So,
look, I'll be honest. I think his output to what he can do was disappointing. However, I agree with you in the respect that he plays for that badge. Absolutely plays for that badge. And I won't fault him for that. But I do believe he's a different player when he's got Danny Butler in the same team with him. I just think they complement each other, and I really believe our forward line misses that Butler tackling and tenacity when the ball's in our forward line.
Yeah.
But the low light. Sorry, go.
No, you're right. You're right. I'll go after yours.
No, I was going to say my low light was probably the kicking for goal because the Ross Lyon teams do cop the old, they're defensive and yada yada, they can't kick a winning score. Well, 9 goals, 14, I believe it was in the end. If it had been 14-9, we win comfortably.
Yeah, that's it, eh? And it's been something. It's been something for a few years we've actually struggled with, but for the last season or so, we've actually got better at it. It was disappointing the other night. Just if I could change subject for 2 seconds, while we're on tenacity and fighting hard, and I'll tell you what, you had to be impressed with Henry.
Oh, mate.
He was everywhere.
Yeah, and as my podcast, MPO Sports Podcast that Danny listens to, said when we were reviewing the season, St Kilda have recruited with purpose. They haven't just recruited for the sake of it. And he's one of the ones they've gone out and wanted for a reason. And I tell you what, Saints fans, he is an excitement machine, isn't he?
He is. I was very impressed with him. He was everywhere. Bonner was good too, I thought.
Yes, and
Stages, yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if this week, if the young Tasmanian gets a go in the back line.
What's his name again? How do you?
Ari Shoemaker or
Yep.
something. I'm not big on the pronunciation.
Shoemaker or something. Yeah, I know the fellow you mean.
And he is a booming kick. So look, I hope they give him a go. And do you see Ross making any changes leading into the Collingwood game?
Oh, it's hard to say. Really, I suppose we got Sinclair and that they're having they've got a fitness test. Sinclair, Butler, and Stocker were having fitness tests, I believe.
Yep. I was going to say to go anywhere this year, we do need Sinclair in the team week in, week out.
100%. He's all Australian for a reason. He's shown the last couple of seasons how much he's improved, and he's great for us running off that bloody halfback and stuff. So, buddy Wilkie was still good. So,
yep.
Steele was actually real good without the flashy stuff. Like he was real good. He done the hard yards, and he's back to some of his best pressure footy.
He was like was like based on last year when he was obviously carrying an injury for most of the 23 rounds. He was like a new recruit, having him fit.
Yep. No, it's bloody awesome, and enjoying the footy, so it's good. I'm not really sure who would be out, but obviously those fellas would be definite ends, Sinclair and Butler, I'd think. Just talking about injuries and stuff. Last year, early in the season, we had a lot of them, and we were a bit unlucky, and we thought, we're going to be in a bit of strife here. But it got those young boys, they got to be put straight into the seniors, and they all put their hand up and said, "Look at me," and they become sort of mainstays in the team.
Yep.
So I don't think it's a bad thing sometimes when we have injuries or like Webster's suspension. It's not always a bad thing because young fellas get a chance which they wouldn't normally get, which is all right,
Do you believe, looking at our back line? All right, so we had Wilkie, who's a absolute probably in the best 3 or 4 defenders in the competition, in my opinion. You had Cordy one-on-one, brilliant, and he uses the ball as well. He doesn't usually turn it over. Cordy, I didn't see much of him in the game. Maybe he makes room for the young fella to come in.
Yeah, the other thing though with our fellas, like even though you don't see them, this is just an observation I made. When you got Hawkins isn't getting a goal until well into the last quarter. Obviously, the boys are doing a good job. The defenders are doing a good job.
Yep.
And a lot of the defensive work does go unnoticed, I reckon.
Yep.
Because if you're taking someone like Hawkins out of the game, I'm not sure actually who played on him, but it's something like that. It goes quite unnoticed. But
I'd be guessing
someone like him, you wouldn't expect him to go into the last quarter and be goalless,
No, and I'd be guessing it was possibly Cordy because Hawkins played deep, and in fact, Hawkins only got 43 Dream Team points, so he had a very quiet night. And between him and Cameron, they only kicked 3 goals.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So our boys are actually doing a good job. So it's hard to take them out. Even like I say, sometimes marking a player is detrimental to your own performance, but that makes your performance even better. Even though you're not getting the possessions and stuff like that, you're doing your job.
Yeah, so. Possessions in the modern game are overrated to a degree.
Yeah,
because you get the sideways hand passes and all that sort of rubbish.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they aren't important. Don't be wrong. You need skillful players that when they get possession of the ball, they use it well. But unsung. It's why they have the golden fist on bounce is because of the unsung defenders. So someone obviously played well, and I would be thinking because it was on Hawkins and Hawkins plays deep that it was probably Cordy anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking that. That's why I thought I'd mention it. But
and I might be going harsh. I might be going a bit harsh by saying maybe he makes room for the young fella, but at some stage, the young fella's got to have a game, I reckon.
Oh, exactly, and that's what it's all about. And he's probably come to our team as a fellow to fill spots. So he's he might be a bit more disposable sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the only thing is with Cordy is he can play up both ends because he has kicked goals before as well. So
Yeah.
if you need to switch or do something, he's capable. Did Joshy Battle go all
right? I can't say I took a huge notice of him, but I didn't think he was terrible. I didn't see him do anything terrible.
Let's have a look. He ended up with.
I've got to admit, by the end of the game, I'd had a few drinks, so you know.
It looks like he had 17 possessions and took 4 marks. Only got, and I don't necessarily believe that the dream team or super coach points are hitting a bit, but he only got 53. But from what I could see, like the game was obviously a bit scrappy at times.
Yeah. He was also, was he not coming off an injury? Had he played the simulation matches or whatever they call them?
I don't think he had.
I think he'd come off an injury, so he might have been a run short too, you know what I mean? So
yeah, true. So let's get into our last little chat as far as what do we take from this game into the Collingwood game. Collingwood are cherry ripe, 0-2. Then again, we're 0-1, but they're 0-2. It's at the MCG. It's Spud's game. Do the boys lift, and how do they beat Collingwood?
Do you know the thing I do not like? And if you probably have a look over the last few years, these marquee games type things that we have, the Spud games, the Maddie's match, these sorts of games. I think a lot of the preparation into the games and which is I love that they do some of this stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes let the footy do the talk and politics let that be after the game, you know what I mean? But a lot of the stuff I've found St Kilda have lost those big games when, you know, we've had this game about this or this game about that.
Yep.
There seems to be a lot going on in the 10 minutes before the bounce. After you've warmed up, then you're doing this, you're doing that before the game. As good as a message as putting through, you know what I mean? St Kilda doesn't seem to really thrive on that.
No.
I don't know if you agree or disagree, but that's just something I've noticed over the years, last few years.
Well, I was actually in shock last year when we won that big 150th or whatever anniversary game against Essendon at the MCG, because you're right, we don't tend to win games when a player's playing a milestone, when the club's doing something. And to beat Essendon last year, I was actually surprised, which was when the collar game, you know, the first collar game.
Yeah. Was it Higgins or who was it?
Higgins adjusting the collar every time he kicked a goal. Yeah. But you're 100% right there.
I think it's good though. We've got Collingwood. They've lost 2 in a row, which it's good and bad because they're going to be wanting to bounce back. They're reigning premiers, you know. The MCG, their home ground. It's our home game, which is good for the club for gate taking, because they're gonna pile in there as are we, you know. But they're going to pile in there, and the gate takings will be great for St Kilda, which will be good. As many games as you can play at the G is good because, you know, get ready for buddy grand final time. I think we just got to bring a bit of intensity in that good fast game that we bring. Hopefully we've done a bit of working on the kicking accuracy in front of goal. But yeah, I think we'll give them a real good run for their money.
Yeah, and
Samuel.
Sorry, go Sammy. Yeah, you're right. Go Sammy.
Oh yeah. Obviously, Collingwood they won the premiership last year, but they'll come off 2 losses. They're going to be very hyped up. They want to win. Obviously, everyone wants to win, but they're going to be a very hard team to beat. But if we have a full strength team, we can still compete.
I think we can beat them. We
can beat them. It's always going to be a close game, especially against Collingwood. But yeah, we can definitely beat them.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, I don't believe if we're delivering the ball in an appropriate manner to guys like Max King, I really don't believe they've got a player to stop him.
Yeah, especially now with Membry back. With Membry back playing well, like a lot of times last season, Membry was. Last couple of seasons, Membry's had to go back and play in the back line and stuff like that. You know what I mean? and Membry probably might have been carrying an injury. He didn't have that big leap that he has and that sort of thing. But with him being fit and well, you're not going to have 2 players or 3 players drawing the king because they've got to look after Membry as well.
Yeah.
I think that's going to create. So Max should have a little bit more freedom this season.
Yep. And you know what? We've got a guy in our lineup that has had the potential and hasn't been given much opportunity, but I believe since Ross has come over, he's had a little bit more to be one of the best third talls in a forward line in the competition, and that is Cooper Sharman. And I believe for us to go a long way this year, he needs to play the bulk of his football in the forward line as the third tall.
Yep, no, fair call, mate. He he could be bloody interesting. You know, he's just shown those glimpses, and great kick. Did he kick our first goal in the final against GWS last year? I think he did, didn't he?
He possibly did. That was the night of my 50th, so I was sort of entertaining and trying to watch the game, so I didn't see.
That's right. He did because we spoke. I believe on the Friday.
Yep.
And you said, you didn't mind him for first goal.
Yep.
So I was over there with my daughter Nadia, and we backed him for first goal. So I'm pretty sure he actually did, and it was on your bit of advice that we did.
There you go. How much did you win?
And I reckon he was about 17. I reckon he was about 17s or something. So it was good odds.
And surely you put a pineapple on it.
Yeah, no, just a little bit. But I shouted a few drinks for a while, so it was all right.
Good win. So that sort of brings us to the end of what we wanted to chat about in our first episode. So if listeners and viewers, wish to give us some advice on what they want us to talk about, some ideas, we're open.
We need all the help we can get, mate. We're just a couple of simple St Kilda supporters who just love the game and love watching the game, love talking shit about it. So any advice or inspiration anyone can give us, we'd be happy to listen to.
100%. And I'm not a St Kilda supporter, I'm a St Kilda nutter. So if you've got some form of relief for my craziness and give us something to talk about, I'll take it on board. We will definitely be posting this episode via a few of the Saints groups once we've got it out there on YouTube. So moving forward, we'll also be developing a Facebook page that we can get people to gravitate to, hopefully. And we might be able to create some conversation on the episodes or give us some conversation leading into an episode. It all helps.
And we probably won't be blocking people like other St Kilda supporters.
No, and all I can say is if you're the sort of person that listens to a certain wannabe football pundit known as Scoops or whatever his name is, you're probably not going to like our content.
And, sorry, every now and then I swear a bit, so just so you know.
Exactly. We're not perfect. We're not professionals, but we are 3 lads that love the Saints. And 2 of us in particular are thinking we're 50. Gosh, are we any chance of flag before we're 80? And I don't want to even think about that at the moment, but that's what it is. So hopefully moving forward, we'll get things going and get a bit of interest. And hopefully, who knows, Danny might be able to weave a bit of magic and get us a player of the past on the show.
Yeah, well, buddy, we can always try our best.
We certainly can. Maybe we could put an offer if a past player comes on the show that Danny will get a tattoo of that player.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I've got a couple. I've actually, we spoke earlier about Spider Everett. He does a wee bit of touring and comes to New Zealand every now and then. He loves to play for the fishing and stuff, so I have sent him a message one day and said, "If you ever in our area, pop through and buddy have a chat in my Sainers bar because I've got quite a nice little St Kilda bar here in New Zealand." And he was quite impressed with the looks of the bar. So hopefully one day if he's in our area, he might call in, and you never know, we might be able to have a word or two with him and put
it on. Yes, and what we might do in a future episode is we might do the Welcome to Danny's Bar episode and get a bit more of the bar in the episode and you can talk to some of your memorabilia, which would be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. We got a little bit here. I was very lucky to be gifted a lot of it from Saints fans. And Ron and Denise Eade, they sent me out a few posters a few years ago, which I actually got put onto a hardboard, hard backboards, and they've come up beautifully. And unfortunately, we lost Ron earlier in the year. He's champion St Kilda supporter. I was lucky enough to meet after a Carlton game. Denise is a beautiful, beautiful lady. Ballarat girl originally, so very beautiful people. And there were a couple of people who sent me some stuff. A lot of other St Kilda supporters have sent me stuff over the years, which I've been very fortunate for. My Milne pictures, they hold pride of place here. I'm a huge Milne fan, so I've got a bit here to show off. A couple of my old racing pictures as well, which aren't so flash as the Saints stuff, but they're all good.
No worries.